Oh my goodness guys, finally we've got some big news regarding F1 MyTeam career mode, and a new kind of article has been dropped. It's not a trailer, but it comes from the official F1 account on Twitter and also of course Formula 1 game, and they've released a statement about a few things regarding MyTeam and given us a bit of a glimpse as to how it works. So guys, for all the latest breaking news on F1 2020, hit the like button, subscribe if you're new. Tomorrow guys, 9 AM tomorrow, I've got some F1 2020 gameplay to show you guys, exclusive gameplay, so get subscribed for that. But yeah, without further ado, let's jump into this and let's see what this news is all about. So let's jump into the article, just literally head first, straight into the deep end, and it says, the new F1 2020 game from Codemasters is set to release on July 10th, and the latest installment promises to take realism to the next level, thanks to the inclusion of driver ratings for the racers on both F1 and F2 grids based on their real-world abilities. As you guys know, or maybe don't know, we do know from confirmed news a few weeks ago, this year's F1 MyTeam career mode, you can sign drivers, and you can pick all the F1 drivers and all of the F2 drivers, and that's the kind of selection you're going to have, and they're all going to have different traits and attributes. You know, they're going to be more expensive or cheaper depending who you go for, if you're going for a more experienced team, a more youthful team, and there's a lot more news regarding this in this. So let's keep reading the article to let's see what it says. But now we can reveal the driver rating feature that will add to the realism of F1 2020's career mode and the exciting MyTeam functionality, where players can create their own F1 team and choose the driver who will race alongside them in the game as their teammate. So keyword there noting it's not just MyTeam, this also applies to career mode, I'm guessing, so hopefully we'll get some more info on that soon. But it continues on to say, the drivers, including those in the F2 category, are scored from 1 to 99 across 4 categories: experience, racecraft, awareness and pace, with those scores based on real world data. The scores the drivers are given will affect their on-track performances in the game, as well as helping the players unlock certain features and technical upgrades. That is massive, really exciting. It's almost kind of the same vibe as obviously a FIFA Ultimate Team card, but this has taken, I think, a big inspiration from the F1 Fantasy as well, in terms of, you know, the pricing, the drivers' contracts, and the kind of clauses, and all the little, like, nuts and crannies, little things that you might not pick up upon. And I'm really liking this so far, and we're going to have full-on ratings, you know, a way to score them, and you can pick them depending on what you prefer. So we've got experience, like I said before, you want to go for a more youthful team, or a more kind of veteran team. You've got a racecraft, which of course is a key factor. For example, drivers like Alonso, who used to be really good in the races, really strong on Sundays, awareness and pace. So really key stats there, you know, and I'm really liking the kind of different avenues where you're going to get to see these drivers in different areas. But let's have a look a bit more detail at these 4 categories and let's see what it has to say. So what categories are the drivers scored on? Experience. A higher experience score will help players collect a greater number of resource points used in-game to buy car upgrades. Racecraft. A higher racecraft score allows the drivers to unleash more effective overtakes. Awareness. A higher score here will mean the driver is less likely to lose control of their car when the going gets tough. And pace, quite simply, the higher pace score, the more rapid a driver will be throughout a race. So there you go. Lots of different balances and lots of different options. So this is really interesting in terms of obviously the MyTeam career mode, because, for example, experience. So you will collect more resource points. So let's say you might not have the fastest driver, but if you go for someone like Kimi Raikkonen, maybe he won't be winning races for you, getting podiums, or maybe the results you're hoping to get, but he would give you a big amount of resource points that you can actually invest, and that long-term wise would help you improve faster by obviously adding more R&D points to the team. So that's one way of looking at it. Racecraft, a higher racecraft score will allow the driver to unleash more effective overtakes. I'm not sure, obviously, I think it doesn't apply to you, the player, because surely you're in control of what you can do and how you drive. So I'm guessing it refers to your teammates. So they'll try and go for more risky kind of aggressive moves and make things happen more quickly in the race. Awareness, a higher score here will mean the driver is less likely to lose control of the car when the going gets tough. So straight away I'm thinking of people like Alonso, Hamilton, you know, Verstappen, the top tier drivers who can drive not just in the dry but in the wet, and that is a key factor here. So maybe, for example, let's say you're on a tight budget, you're not doing that well as a team, maybe it's worth getting a driver who's good on awareness for those kind of one-off races where there's some mixed conditions, and you might be able to kind of snag a few points and try and finish a bit higher up than you usually would. So that's a good example of that. And pace, quite simply, flat out to the max. So you would go for the fastest driver. There could be mistakes. You won't get as many R&D points. He may not make the outright best moves, but he's going to be fast. So I like the balance, and it's really, really interesting actually, and there's a bit of everything in each of these. So that's the scoring system explained, and below we'll be showing you the driver ratings for all 20 of the F1 races on the 2020 F1 grid. We start with the Red Bull, Racing Point and Alpha Tauri pairings, and check back later over the coming days as we reveal the scores for the rest of the drivers. So I'm guessing these are the official reveals, and we get a glimpse of all of these actually, and we're going to see what little things they each have, which is really, really interesting. So let's start with Red Bull, of course. We've got Max Verstappen and Alexander Albon. So Max, of course, has been in F1 now for 6 years, so he's got a bit more experience than Albon. Pretty well balanced, to be fair. I like the look of that. I think Albon could have had maybe a little bit less, but I like the experience there. I think that matches up quite well. Max has been in F1 for 6 years, but for example, let's say drivers like Lewis, they've been in F1 for like 13 years now, so it makes sense in that sense that his experience is still relatively low. Racecraft 94, so Max is going to be more aggressive when it comes to overtakes. Also awareness, actually, he's a bit more sharper, and generally he has better stats than his teammate, hence why his rating is a lot higher. The pace on Max, 96 pace. He seems to be one of the really fast drivers in this year's game, so I'm really, really keen to see that in practice. He's got 11 rating points over Albon, and then we move to the bottom and we've got the actual costs. So the buyout, $3.5 million. His salary is $7 million, I'm guessing, a year, and the contract is 10.5. So these are all little things you got to factor in, especially for MyTeam. So when you're gonna, for example, let's say you want to buy Verstappen and he's halfway through a contract with Red Bull. Let's say you buy him, you're going to have to pay his 3.5 million buyout, you're going to have to pay his 7 million salary, and then of course his contract cost. So all that's going to add up to a whopping fee to sign Verstappen on for your team. So you've got to add all those figures together. Whereas with Albon, it's a lot more affordable. You know, 2 million buyout, 4 million salary, and 6 million contract cost. He's going to be half the price of Verstappen, and you might get some lesser performances, but it might be worth your kind of currency. And also remember, guys, in this year's game, you can train the second driver, the teammate, up to be a better driver. So maybe it's worth going for someone like Albon and improving him in the MyTeam career mode. Now we move on to Racing Point. Sergio Perez, 85 rating, Lance Stroll, 78. I think Stroll, to be fair, could have a little bit less. He's only been in F1 since F1 2017, so he's only he's only been here for 3 years, and he's got not that much experience, so I think it could be a little bit lower. Sergio Perez, though, 78 experience. He's been around for a little while now. He's got 10 more than Verstappen. Of course, Perez has been around since F1 2011. So, yeah, Perez, 91 racecraft. We know about, obviously, over his career, he's very good in the races. He can make podiums out of nothing with Racing Point or Force India or even Sauber back in the day. 80 awareness and 86 pace. So, Perez, one of the faster drivers. To be fair, his contract's quite expensive, actually. He's more than Albon, which is logic when you think about it. That's quite surprising, but I guess that's the nature of it. So 7.5 million contract cost, 5 million salary, which is quite high, and 2.5 buyout. Lance Stroll is actually quite surprising to me because Lance has the exact same driver rating. Oh, sorry, he's one lower than Alexander Albon, whereas me personally, for example, I don't rate Stroll that highly, so I thought Stroll would be a little bit lower. But still, in terms of the stats, they're equal pace. So apparently, Stroll and Albon are seen or viewed at to be the same kind of pace as driver. Racecraft, though, Albon has a little bit more, and also he has a bit more awareness. Compared to his teammate, though, Perez is stronger in every single attribute, and to be fair, there's not much of a difference. This one's a much more balanced driver lineup, so there's less kind of difference between the two. Obviously, when you're comparing Verstappen against Albon, Max is going to be really, really high up because he's one of the best drivers on the grid. So this one's a bit more balanced. And then finally, we have Alpha Tauri. So both of these guys have an 80 rating. I'm expecting to be pretty similar. Kvyat, 63 experience. Gasly, 53. Of course, Gasly has been in F1 since the very end of 2017. Kvyat has been in F1 since 2014. Racecraft, very similar, only one difference. And to be fair, I can't agree with that. I think Kvyat's been around longer. He's had some decent races in his career. Awareness, though, 74 for Kvyat. 87 for Gasly, and of course that is when you're expecting a mixed conditions race or things to get a little bit tricky. You expect the driver to be less prone to making mistakes, so they've gone quite high on Gasly in that one. And pace wise, this was surprising actually. They've gone +5 to Kvyat, so Kvyat is according to Codemasters a much quicker driver than Gasly, which I'm not exactly sure I agree with personally. I would have to be fair, I would have put them on both on, like, if you look at the Racing Point, Lance Stroll's on 83, I would have probably put them both at 85, or maybe 86, 85 to Gasly. Personally, that's what I would have done. Yeah, contract-wise, very similar. They both got $6 million contracts, $4 million salary, and $2 million buyout. So they're both literally identical. So you're going to have to take your pick of the bunch there when it comes to career mode. But guys, very exciting news. I'm absolutely loving it. There's so much information to take in, and I really, really like everything they've done with this. It's going to revamp MyTeam and also standard career mode as well. There's going to be a lot of changes, and I cannot wait. But guys, that is going to be it from me here today, kind of covering this breaking news. And once again, a reminder, tomorrow guys, I will have my first ever F1 2020 gameplay releasing. It's going to be exclusive gameplay, so check it out on the channel. Get subscribed for it, guys, and don't miss it. But guys, that is going to be it from me here today. Drop a like, subscribe if you're new, check out the 2 videos on your screen right now if you have missed them, and I will see you all tomorrow. Well, to be fair, I've got a video going later on this afternoon, but I'll see you all tomorrow for more F1 2020 content. But until then, guys, take care, and I'll see you all next time.